I always believe in letting your customers go better than when you brought them on, and always want to give them a pleasant experience because you never know who they're going to refer or what might happen in the future.
Welcome to Biz Help for You, the show that saves you the expensive learning curve by providing advice from industry experts in every facet of the entrepreneurial journey. Too many small businesses collapse. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 20% fail within their first year, and less than 35% make it to their 10th anniversary. The goal of this podcast is to change that statistic. So if you're interested in learning more to be a successful entrepreneur, tune in today.
Let me tell you a little bit about my guest today. Kyle Kiriakidis demonstrated remarkable adaptability and a strong track record of results-driven leadership across various fields, from construction to high-stakes sales. Notably, he managed construction crews with hourly costs of $25,000 and then transitioned to door-to-door sales, achieving an impressive $300,000 in recurring summer revenue. His innovative monetization strategies and market insights played a pivotal role in the growth of Skio music. Through his consultancy, Eleftheria, he has successfully transformed more than 50 businesses, including the noteworthy achievement of doubling Nam Josh's annual revenues. In the realms of sales and strategy, Kyle is a formidable and impactful force, making him a valuable resource if you are seeking growth and transformation. He now owns Shepherd Marketing that works with small business owners to grow their businesses. So Kyle, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Candy. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Well, I'm looking forward to the conversation. I'm going to have some questions for you in a minute, but before I get into the content that I want to discuss, I would love for you just to tell me, how did you begin your career and what led you to transition from, managing construction crews to the sales that we're going to be talking about?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you so much for asking. So out of high school, I didn't really know that I could go to university or get education. So I started working in construction. My first job was a rod buster, packing steel and tying steel. Eventually, I realized that I was going to destroy my body if I kept down this path. And I worked out of town in civil construction, building railroads, hydroelectric projects, and a lot of civil infrastructure projects, working in Prince Rupert, Box Canyon, and living the camp life, so to speak. I did that for about 5 years. I worked my way up from a laborer to surveyor, foreman, running crews, working with the engineers, doing as-builts in the field, reading blueprints. And as a surveyor, you're laying everything out and you end up directing the crews. So I decided, I'm making all this money, but it's coming at such a cost. I don't know what I'm going to do in 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. So I had this brilliant idea to go to school. So I went to university for accounting. And so almost 2 years into university for accounting, I ran out of money. And so I took up a role as a door-to-door salesperson, selling home alarms, and traveled across Alberta and Canada, knocking doors. And during that time, I was taking a personal development program called Landmark, and I really got what communication meant, which is a matter of understanding and listening to hear and understand others versus communicate by speaking. So I really developed the ability to listen to people, and I'd always ask for feedback. And I discovered that people wanted to be heard, listened to, and have their problems solved in a very authentic, compassionate, and integrate way. So I took that experience and came back to my home, and eventually I got a job at Skio, working customer support, bottom of the barrel, just starting out. And I remember the first couple of months that I was there, all I did was take care of all the customer complaints and items that weren't taken care of. And at the time, they had a couple 100,000 people in their database, and they were working on how to sell their subscriptions and sell programs. And so by talking to all the customers, understanding their pain points, eventually I had somebody work under me, and her and myself worked to understand, what do these artists want? And we identified that they wanted feedback and mentorship and so many things. And so you notice the book, The Lean Startup, behind me. Rather than going and building all this technology to test something, I said, why don't we just set up some Wizard of Oz systems and see if people will buy what we think they want? And so we started offering programs and getting people to pay for services and pushing them out through Google Documents and setting up mentorship calls on Calendly and Zoom, and it started working. during COVID, the economy started to weaken and money was not flowing as freely as it was in the past. So during that time, I got laid off and I really dug deep in myself, said, what is my best skill set? And it was sales and closing and really the feedback loop of developing offers and programs for what the market wants. So in a span of 3 months, I got 3 remote closing jobs online, working, selling fitness, selling high-end marketing services, and selling marketing services, local SEO, lead generation, social media, and such to small businesses. And that's how I transitioned from that. And now I run and operate Shepherd Marketing, and I still consult Nam, Josh, and other clients to this day. And my favorite thing is helping businesses get freedom from their business rather than being stuck in it. And that's what Aletheia means. It means life, liberty, and freedom, or death. It was the revolutionary war cry of the Greeks when they overtook the Ottoman Empire some 100 years ago after 300 years of being, under that rule.
Right. Well, it's always interesting to hear where people have come from and how they got what they are. So thanks for sharing, that history. But I do want to talk with you about databases and monetization and things like that. And I think most people probably know what a database is, but just in case, I would love for you just to give a definition of a database and how does it play a role in business, especially in terms of monetization of that database?
Yeah, thank you so much. So most customers and companies think my database is my email list, and it goes deeper than that, right? Like, let's say that you had a salesperson that's just starting a new career and they have a Gmail account. Well, in Gmail, you have this other contacts. That's every single person that they know and that they've connected with. So they have that saying, your network is your net worth. Well, it's similar for business, right? Every business has a list or contacts or data of existing customers that they probably have forgot about, that they don't know exist, or that they're overlooking. So when it comes to database marketing, there's many different subfields to that. And simply put, it's the contacts and data assets of a business that you can engage with and analyze and understand how to do more and more and more with the people you already know.
Right. Well, and I think sometimes people think it's just like, here's my customer list, right? So if I need to go find some information on a customer, I've got it in one place, right? Instead of, like you're saying, like all these contacts that are in there and potentially using them for, touching base again in the future, follow up, drip campaigns or things like that too. So, do you have any tips for someone who is maybe unsure of how to even use that effectively, besides just holding some information in there with names and addresses and things? Like, what can they use it for, really?
Well, I'll give you an example. So I have a carpet cleaning company that I work with locally here. I've been working with them for 2 years. They've been in business for about 8 to 10 years, and they had a customer list of 4,000 individuals. Now, we wanted to understand who these people were and where they are and what they've purchased. So I said, give me all the raw data associated with them. So we exported all the information and we were able to analyze their database and understand the buying behaviors, the cycles, and what these individuals wanted. So we ran a campaign and our goal was to generate about $15,000 in revenue, and we made just shy of $19,000 in 14 days. So for a small carpet cleaning company to be able to do that in 14 days was extraordinary. A year later, we did the same campaign. We didn't change much. We took what we learned and we generated them just shy of $25,000. And further to that, we used that information to identify what service areas produce the highest average order value. So we can use that data to optimize your business, to understand where to focus, where to put energy, where to put marketing dollars, but also what not to do. And so the easiest thing for a business owner is to simply collect the data and have it in a repository like a CRM. We love MailChimp. We are a MailChimp partner. All of the clients that come and work with us, we curate their data and get it ready for them as the first step, whether they're doing social media, lead generation, video, email marketing, consulting. That's the first thing we want to do, is clean it up and get it ready and actionable, even if you don't do anything with it. It's an asset sitting there. So, that's a real life example of how we were able to help a company that had no idea what they were doing. And now, almost 2 years later, they've handed over their database assets and we manage it for them. And we can run these campaigns twice a year and continually engage in the database. And a lot of people, this is going into email marketing. A lot of people are worried about unsubscribe rates and such like that. And I always say, hey, if you don't want to hear about us, please unsubscribe. It lets us know to not focus on you. And we wish you all the best. Thank you so much for being a customer. And how else can we help you?
Right.
I always believe in letting your customers go better than when you brought them on, and always want to give them a pleasant experience, because you never know who they're going to refer, or what might happen in the future.
Well, and some people might feel like, well, if I have these names, they're, former clients, especially if it's something that people don't need very often, right? But they might feel weird, like reaching out after a long period of time where maybe they haven't really interacted with them for a bit, so do you want to touch on maybe how to effectively be able to reach back out to someone that maybe you haven't interacted with for a while using the information in your database?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, for me, I don't know if feelings belong in the world of business. And I'm very data driven and response driven. So I guess if a business owner felt like they're bothering people, the simplest thing is to call them or email them or reach out and communicate and get a response. And that response will inform what to do next. And a lot of marketing is 50% planning, 50% responding and reacting. So, it's like calling an old friend that you haven't talked to in 10 years. And perhaps you think that they don't like you, or their life has gone on and there was something in between you. And you call them and you just say, hey, I just want to get complete with this and acknowledge this. I haven't called you in so long. Here's what I've been thinking. And they might say to you, you know what? I'm so glad you called me. I've been thinking about you. I've been thinking about you for 5 years. Thank you so much for giving me a call. How are you? And that opens up a whole new world of possibilities. So when we get in communication, we have the opportunity to discover what's going on over there for them. So I would recommend you employ curiosity.
That's a good point. Yeah, just like you said, curious. Ask, even maybe just touching base and just saying, I was thinking, I would check in and just see how things are going with you, right? It just doesn't even have to necessarily have that, concept of I need to sell at the end, right? But like you said, reconnecting with people, I think could be a great way just to do that as well.
One more thing about that is to take it to the next level. When you reach out to someone, think about how you can help them. What can you provide to them as value? And give them something or some value or some of your time to listen to them with nothing, expecting nothing in return. And if we do that, I'm always so fascinated with how people open up or customers open up. And even if they had a bad experience with your company, that's an opportunity for you to learn and improve your services in your company as well. And sometimes that's more valuable than somebody giving you a pat on the back. I tell my team of 11 staff, like, I want all the problems. The pat on the backs, the attaboys, let's talk about that when we talk about wins. But the only thing that I can do to increase our margins and maintain sustainable profits is to solve problems. So we can look at the wins, and more importantly, what are the problems and challenges that I can help solve, that our customers have, that we have, that the staff have. So I get really invested in problem solving in a creative way, and not just jumping to decisions and conclusions, but really getting curious about, okay, tell me more about that. What can you tell me about that? How does that affect you? How does that impact you? What could we do differently? What could we learn from that? What could we do better? And I've called old customers that didn't have great experiences with companies in the past and listened to this, and they wanted to work with us again. And that's what I discovered in door-to-door sales is, why would you buy this from me? At the beginning, you were so angry. Well, you listened to me and you were different than everyone else. And I'm not angry. I actually want the service, but the way that it was being presented and sold to me was repulsive. And I've had so many bad experiences, but you reminded me of X, Y, Z, my son, my family, my friend, this experience. And I wanted to tell you my problems, and you solved them. So you never know what you're going to hear when you get curious, right? In an authentic way.
That's so true. Well, I'd love for you to touch on the concepts of upselling and cross-selling, and how can they effectively be used in this, discussion around the monetization as well.
Yeah. So do you have like, tell me about your clients. Like, do you have a specific kind of industry or business that I could use an example for so it's really valuable for your audience?
Well, one of my clients is a franchise owner. He has 7 restaurant locations in 2 states.
Okay, well that's great. I mean, McDonald's does it great. Their upsell is, would you like to supersize this? And
Mhm.
so second money is 80% easier. If somebody is coming to use your service, buy your products, and they've already committed to that, asking them to do more with you, or ask if they would like an additional item or to upgrade their item, that's the highest point of conversion for that.
Mhm.
So if somebody's coming to you and asking you to, let's say a landscaper, for example, and you're maintaining their lawn once a week, and you ask them, would you like us to weed your garden beds as well when we're there? It's an additional $40 a month. For $40 a month, I can save 3 hours of time I would spend regularly breaking my back and pulling weeds out. Absolutely, I would love that. So now
Mhm.
maybe your average order value of the $200 a month goes to 240, and you've just generated an extra 20% on that, and that upsell is so much more profitable because you've already acquired this customer, you're already going there to do the service, and it's a value add that they love because they're so pleased because you asked.
Mhm.
Most businesses and people don't ask because they feel like they shouldn't ask or they're afraid to ask.
Mhm. That makes sense. So that's obviously upselling, right, to the same customer. Is cross-selling similar, or is it like completely different?
Well, cross-selling is when you move into a different industry, right?
Mm.
And I think a lot of people confuse cross-selling and upselling. So let's say the landscaper is doing their lawn, right?
Mhm.
Well, let's say now that they go inside and they do cleaning. Now they're
Mm.
inside the
Okay.
house. Hey,
Mhm.
I know a lot of real estate agents, and I recommend that they partner with landscaping companies so that they can, you know, hire the landscaping service for the clients that buy their home, put a sign out in front, and now they're in a different area of their business. And
Mhm.
so, like, let's use another example for instance. So, carpet cleaning, right? A good
Mhm.
cross sell is, hey, we just did your carpets. Would you like to get your house cleaned and maintained monthly?
Mhm.
Now you're going from carpet cleaning to home cleaning.
Mhm.
An upsell in carpet cleaning would be, hey, we're cleaning your carpets. We noticed you have tiles and upholstery. Would you like your tiles and upholstery taken care of? We're going to be there anyways. We can give you a steep discount because, if you look at the unit economics of your business and you
Mhm.
understand what an additional unit costs you, and you don't need to pay to acquire that customer, you might pass that additional cost of acquiring the customer to this customer that you can give the upsell to.
Mhm. Right. So they don't necessarily have to be doing it themselves too. It could be someone they're recommending, and then maybe they get a referral bonus or something from that, or a portion of that that helps them in their revenue too. But it's because a lot of times we do hear like you should niche your business and you shouldn't have too many products or services, right? So if someone is really good at landscaping, but now they're talking about house cleaning, maybe they're not as good at that, right? So that's where maybe partnering with someone might be good.
Yeah, in the beginning, I always say find referral partners, right? Find
Mm-hmm.
affinity partners. Hey, we're a landscaping company. We have an affinity program. We have cleaners. We have power washers. We have light, Christmas light people, and so
Mm-hmm.
many of these people that you can recommend. And perhaps you get a 10 to 15% referral. I'll tell you what, Candy, I'd rather get a 20% commission on a service I don't have to fulfill than do a service and get 40% margin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if that business grows to a point where it makes sense to enter that industry, maybe you ask them to partner, create a division of your company, or you look to optimize your business in a certain way, or build a big book of business and sell it.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different paths, and it always comes down to what is the goal of the business, what's the goal of the business owner, and what's the goal of this service. Because
Right.
if you have 10 different goals, then you know you're spinning a pretty big spider web that becomes very challenging to manage and to build.
Mhm.
So if we're very focused and we can have multiple tips of the spear with different operations and groups supporting us, then there's this whole concept of cooperation or co-opetition, collaborating with your competition. Now, you must have strong relationships and trust and loyalty to execute these over a long period of time and sustain them. And the other crazy thing is when you refer people to them, ask your referral partners to ask for reviews and feedback on your service, because the clients will tell them things that they would never tell you.
That's a good point. Yeah, because they want to give their feedback, but sometimes they, don't want to necessarily tell it to you directly.
They don't want to offend you. They don't want to feel like you're upset and you're going to come and do their service and you're going to do it begrudgingly, all sorts of things, right? You never know what is going on for people. And, people have lives and they have personal lives and professional lives, and they have physical challenges, mental challenges, spiritual challenges. And so we don't really know what's going on for people. And so it could be a myriad of different things of why they are withholding information or not communicating. And they might say, yeah, it's all good. Thank you so much. But we get curious and, find other angles, right? Like if I couldn't close a deal, I might call somebody else to go and talk to them and see if they can get done or get the feedback so I can learn. Because perhaps that communication's not the communication lines aren't open over here.
Right. Well, when you were talking about those examples too for, the upselling and the cross-selling, like the examples we were using were like if they're in person, right? They're going to the restaurant or the person is at their home and, saying, hey, we could do this other service for you. Or would you like, to upcharge, your rate, get, from medium to large or something, right? At the restaurant.
Yeah.
But what about if someone is more like working remotely with their clients? They don't necessarily even see each other face to face. It's, an online relationship. Like how do they manage, being able to do what you just talked about and trying to upsell, another product or service or cross sell that when maybe they don't have as much of that relationship because they're not seeing each other face to face?
That's a great question. So I have clients all across North America. And so, somebody might come to us and they want social media services. And so we offer them the social media services. They take it and we say, hey, tell me a little bit more about your business. Oh, well, I think that you might benefit from a database audit and email marketing program. Since we're already setting up with you and we're taking care of the setup fee, would you like to add this additional service for X amount a month? And that would save you the setup fee and we can get that done at the same time. As a bonus, we'll set up your CRM, curate all the data, and we'll build you this asset that you own. And if you have at least, 200 contacts and you already paid $50 to get each contact, well, that's worth, at least $10,000. Wouldn't you agree? And they agree and we do it. Or, as an example, a lot of our clients ask us, do you do websites? Can you build me a website? Well, we like building simple landing pages because we like performance marketing. To take on an entire website build is operationally dragging for us. So we will recommend our website partner and they will come in and give a quote. And if that is successful, our great website partners give us a kickback, and then we can collaborate with them to ensure that the website is in harmony with the services that we're providing so that their digital ecosystem is like a well-tuned orchestra working together. And, even like we have clients that come in and they want digital services and we ask them, how are you taking care of your cash flow? How are you taking care of your bookkeeping and your projections, or how are you taking care of your legal? Do you have insurance? I ask all these questions because then I can provide so much value to them. I'm not just a digital marketing firm. I'm also their partner looking out for their best interests and all the other areas that I know to ask and think about. And they might be so busy with work and with personal life that they haven't considered it, or they don't know what they don't know.
Yep. That's true. I love to be a resource too for my clients. And it's the same thing. If someone needs, an insurance broker, an attorney, or a banker, or, whatever that might be. Like, I love when people come to me and they're like, who do you know? Right. Because then it's the same thing. Like, I can be that trusted advisor for them. And so, I think that's one of the things that we all would want to be for our clients, right? Is that resource that they can reach out to.
Yeah, and then these customers who have bought from you once become clients who they repeat buy, and then they become advocates of your business, and they send you tons of other business.
Mm-hmm.
And I have advocates in my business that I've never met them in person, and I've worked with them for multiple years. And anytime they want to make a big decision in their business when it relates to sales, marketing, or the change, they come and talk to me about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because they value my advice, and they know that over the years, months, they've shared so much with me, and I remember it all, that I can advise them in a way that helps them come to the decision. Because a lot of the times business owners are like in a forest, and it's a jungle and they don't see anything. And so us as advisors on the outside can look from the helicopter, go, okay, you need to go due northeast. Here's the way, go that way. And sometimes we just need to pluck them out of the forest and look at the big picture and say, hey, remember 6 months ago when you told me this is your goal and this is what's important to you? Does this decision and this initiative align with that, and have your goals changed? And sometimes a recentering and a refocus of what's important to them is all we need. In my advising services and consulting, I typically try not to tell people what to do, but help them arrive at the solution or the decision that is good for them, so I can teach them to fish rather than just giving them fish.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, shepherd marketing.
Nice. I wanted to ask to use the word optimization a little while ago too, and I would love for you just to talk about what can businesses do to optimize their marketing, especially, since we do so much digital marketing now. How would they go about doing that?
So one really simple way is to look at your customer acquisition cost. And some business owners might say, well, I don't know how to acquire. I don't know what my customer acquisition cost is. All my business comes from referrals. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, how much time are you spending networking and meeting people? Mm-hmm. What's your hourly rate? Okay, multiply that by how much of that you do that in a week, in a month, and divide the amount by the amount of customers you acquired, and there's your customer acquisition cost. Mm-hmm. And so, traditionally in some businesses, it might cost you $1,000 to acquire a customer. And if you're investing or spending $5,000 a month and getting 5 customers, how can we take that and, how can we lower that by 50% or 100% even, and get you 10 customers with the same amount of investment? Mm-hmm. And so it's not necessarily on the digital marketing side, it's on the financial side. And because I have the accounting background and the marketing and sales background, I use a lot of ratios, formulas, and calculations to determine these things right off the hop. Because anytime a customer comes and works with me, I want to identify, what is your customer acquisition cost? What's your average order value? What's the lifetime value of a customer? What's your churn rate? How do you retain them? What's your stickiness program? And tell me about the problems you have acquiring customers. But more importantly, how do you keep them and convert them? And follow up, right? If you invest $5,000 a month and you're getting 5 clients, and you don't have follow-up systems that, only 4% of the market's going to be able to buy right away, what about the other 96%? If you have that $5,000 only getting 5 customers in that month, and you're not getting any more customers further down the road, that customer acquisition cost is going to stay at 1,000. And if month 2 you get 2 more, month 3 you get 4 more, month 5 you get 6 more, well, now all of a sudden you have 15 customers acquired for $5,000. And so you've just tripled the amount of customers you can acquire for the same amount of investment. Mm-hmm. And I work with all my clients to ensure they have systems to track this, if that's something that they want to do. And that which can be measured can be controlled. And if we don't measure it, we do not control it. And therefore, we need to have systems and processes for this. And usually I work with a lot of high performance salespeople and owners, and they are not systems and analytically driven. And traditionally, I'm not either. And I've built systems that allow me to go fast while tracking everything, so that I know. Because if you don't know and you're doing something, how do you know if it's working? Like, I talked to a painting company just this week. He didn't know how to calculate his return on investment. He's spending about $800 a month on ads, getting about $15,000. I said, boy, you're getting a 15x ROI. For every dollar you spend, you get $15. He's like, wow, you're blowing my mind. I didn't know that. I'm like, so knowing that every dollar you spend, you get $15 back, how much would you be open to investing in your marketing? He's like, unlimited amounts. I'm like, do you have a credit card? He's like, no. I'm like, maybe you should consider getting some credit so that you can accelerate the growth of your business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think a lot of times people are just afraid of that growth too, so they limit themselves, right? But that's another topic for another day as well.
The key is sustainable growth.
Mm-hmm.
And I will refuse to do lead generation or any kind of lead acquisition for clients that don't have follow-up systems and proper things in place. Mm-hmm. And so it's like going fishing with a net that's got holes in it. Right. Every time the boats come back to shore, the fishermen repair the nets because they know that's the best way to optimize their time and their efforts out there. And the same goes for business owners. If you don't spend time to repair the nets and you're always fishing, soon you'll have no fish to eat or catch.
Right. That's true. Well, I know we're coming to the end of the time that we have together. So I wanted to ask, first of all, if you have an offer that you would like to share with our listeners, and also if people would like to connect with you, how can they find you?
So my Instagram is at Kyle Kiriakidis, and you can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. My website is www.kylekiriakidis.me. My company website for Shepherd Marketing is www.shepherd.ai. That's SHEPHARD.ai. And the offer that I would have is, let us do an audit on your database. Let us audit your marketing investment. Let us audit your business and provide you with a detailed report of how we can optimize your business without spending a whole ton of money on paid ads or lead generation systems. And our services, our clients can get social media and email marketing for less than $1,500 a month. And we execute the entire thing for you. All you do is let us guide you, be coachable, be open, and take care of your clients. And our services only work when you have a good service and you take care of your clients and you ensure that that is a respectable business that you're running.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Well, thank you, Kyle, for being a guest on my show and, talking on this topic. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Candy.
And to the listener, if you enjoyed today's topic and you want to hear additional information, you can find access to exclusive content in the show notes. Thank you for tuning in today. Would you please share this episode with those you know and leave a review on your favorite platform? And if you find our show informative, would you consider being a financial sponsor to help me continue my mission to educate business owners? A link is located in the episode description, and no amount is too small. I'd really appreciate your support. If you are interested in connecting with our guest and receiving the offer they had to share, a link to our resource page is in the show notes. Finally, if you have any bookkeeping or payroll needs, reach out to us at 310-534-5577 or contact@abandp.com. My team and I are eager to assist you. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Biz Help for You. Please join your host, Candy Messer, again next time. Have a terrific day.